Hello everybody, my name is Yukiko Grine and I teach orchestra at Oshkosh North and West High Schools in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and I'm also the music director of the Oshkosh Youth Symphony.
Hi everybody, I'm Renee Schumacher. I'm the Arts Corps District Coordinator for the Oshkosh Area School District, and I work to support teachers in and through the arts. Thank you everyone for joining us here today. We're very excited to share our project called Full Steam Ahead.
Igniting creativity through arts integration. We also want to say a big thank you to all of the attendees at the 2021 ASTA National Conference. And thank you for attending our session.
A common support request that I receive is about student engagement. And I would also argue that teacher engagement is equally important. With arts integration, the learning is on display. Students are able to use their other intelligences to show you what they know, what they understand. And it's usually interactive, visually or even audibly, so that you can see the learning, they can see their classmates learning. This is active and engaging for students and teachers. Arts integration is an approach to teaching in which students construct and demonstrate their understanding through an art form. Students engage in a creative process which connects an art form and another subject area and meets evolving objectives in both. For a full-fledged arts integration lesson plan, you would have an art standard and a content standard that were equally taught and assessed. Using arts integration strategies is a great way to introduce yourself and your students to arts integration in the classroom, whether you're an arts teacher or core content teacher.
Okay, so regarding the integration of the arts, obviously as a musician and an educator, I firmly believe that integration is so important and it's such a beautiful thing and such a fulfilling and wonderful holistic experience for students and teachers alike. And so I feel very passionate about providing opportunities and participating in opportunities to make that happen for students, for students and young musicians. So I think being able to integrate the arts into, the STEM elements of the students' curriculum, it brings a whole, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but a whole extra dimension or a multi-dimensional sort of really fulfilling aspect to your whatever project you're doing. Because participating in the arts and accessing your inner artist or inner creative soul, I guess you could say, is one of the most beautiful and fulfilling and wonderful and meaningful things that you can do as a student or a teacher. And so if you provide those creative outlets for students and engage them through the arts and music, there's just no way that they can't come out on the other end having grown as a human being. I mean, there's just to add that component to whatever other curriculum that they're working on or working through, just adds, like I said, that multidimensional aspect to their learning and expression. And it really provides a wonderful outlet of expression for students. And so they're able to demonstrate their learning in so many extra ways or new ways and fulfilling ways. So we should all do that. So the logistics of the project seem quite involved, but if you have people who are willing to collaborate and are invested because of the relationships that you've grown and established with them beforehand, it makes the whole process, creative process and implementation process, number one, very fulfilling, and number two, just a lot easier. So in this case, we had the K-8 science coordinator in our district, in the Oshkosh Area School District, help us develop a sound-oriented lesson plan that was tied directly to the next gen science standards. And then we created it, we developed it, created it, gave it to all of the teachers. They implemented it in their classrooms with their students, and the result was sort of a gateway between the schools and the students in their classroom and the Youth Symphony and the Youth Symphony students, because the Youth Symphony students also were part of the collaboration and part of the lesson plan as well. So the Youth Symphony students were invested, the elementary students and their teachers were invested, and so that really made the project come to life. My name is Yukiko Grine, and some of you know me, but for those of you who don't, I teach orchestra here in Oshkosh at North and West High School, and I also conduct the symphonic orchestra and the youth orchestra program here in Oshkosh. We're putting together a children's concert for you and your students called Full Steam Ahead, as in STEM with the arts thrown in there. So the core components of this project included not only the concert that the Oshkosh Youth Symphony prepared and presented, but it included the Oshkosh area and surrounding district teachers working with their students and in conjunction with the Youth Symphony and the Arts Corps organization to implement a music-based and arts integration-based project, but addressing directly the national next gen science standards, dealing with sound and engineering. What would happen if you screamed in outer space? So today you will, number one, learn about sound waves and their connection to music. Number two, you're going to listen to an excerpt of a book about a musical cow. And number three, you're going to create a string or percussion instrument of your own, which you will use to perform with the Youth Symphony on our concert. Number four, you're going to share your creations on Flipgrid, so share the making of your instrument on Flipgrid. I've picked a story that reminded me about how I felt when I was your age, when I saw my first symphony concert and heard Beethoven performed for the first time.
It makes like a violin. If I go like this, I use it as a pick, and then it sounds. And I use the glue, and then when I go like this, it at least has, like, if you put it on, it has like some space between, so that when I push on it, it makes a sound. I have a percussion and a string instrument.
A percussion and a string instrument.
So I use this to make different beats for like.
You're probably on the floor with the rest of us.
And then I use these mallets to make more beats. Because the pencils by itself would only do this. This is fitting. So then I also use this string for a good tone.
So there's your string. Okay, wonderful.
Hi, my name is John, and I play the trombone. The trombone is a member of the brass family.
Full Steam Ahead is something that came about as a result of our annual children's concert that the Oshkosh Youth Symphony always does for the elementary schools in the Oshkosh Area School District and surrounding districts in our area. Full Steam Ahead became a much more collaborative project. There were multiple collaborations this time, and we took it to a new level, and we really enjoyed the process. So we had the community organization that partnered with the Oshkosh Area School District, being the Oshkosh Youth Symphony. We had another arts integration organization, the Arts Corps organization, that supported this whole process and helped us bring a lot of our ideas to fruition. And then, of course, we had the collaboration between the Oshkosh Youth Symphony students and the elementary students and the teachers in the Oshkosh Area School District and surrounding districts, as well as our Arts Corps staff and colleagues. So we had a lot of support in the community and within the district and surrounding districts. So that is really what made the whole project come to life. And of course, it's all about the students and their learning and creating a holistic learning opportunity for them that included not only science, technology, engineering, and math, but the arts and music specifically. And we wanted to make it a project-based learning experience for students and integrate many different subject areas into one, and then have a culminating experience where the students actually got to participate in the concert performance with the students of the Oshkosh Youth Symphony. Okay, so what you just heard was a theme from the piece that you're going to perform with us. And it's a piece written by a guy named Beethoven, Ludwig von Beethoven. And I just wanted to play a little bit of the theme on my violin because this is a stringed instrument. There are strings on my violin. There's this little wooden piece called a bridge. And this black piece of wood is the fingerboard. And I put my fingers on the fingerboard to play the notes. And the reason why I'm playing my violin for you is to just show you what happens when I put my bow, that's the stick with horsehair on it, on the string. And when I play notes on my violin, the string vibrates. So the bow moves the string and it vibrates. And that is, those are the sounds that you're hearing. You're hearing the vibrations of the string. I'm going to play the theme one more time, and I want you to just listen to the notes that I play and just think about what you're hearing. What is the sound like? Does it stay the same? Does it change? When I put my fingers down on the string, it changes the length of the string. So the bridge is a point of contact for the string. And then wherever I put my finger on the fingerboard, that's the other point of contact. And so then wherever I put my finger, all the way to the bridge, that is the length of the string that is vibrating. If I put my finger down in a different place on the string and then the string is longer or shorter from the bridge to my finger, depending on what notes I'm playing. And the sound of the note changes depending on where I put my fingers. So why is that? When you build your instruments and when you talk about your mystery science unit, you're going to learn why that is and what's happening. That's all for now. Preparation took, it was quite an undertaking. So the preparation process was, and bringing this to fruition was a very intense and involved process. I have to be honest about that. But it was exciting and it was rewarding because all of us were so deeply invested in doing something like this. And I personally just enjoyed so much being able to collaborate in a new way with some of the other staff members in the district, and bringing in Arts Corps as well. And that was just, it really was fulfilling for me personally as a musician and a teacher. So it wasn't arduous work in that way. It was really fun and very enjoyable. So the process involved, of course, on the music end, I have weekly rehearsals with the Youth Symphony students. And so we intensely prepared our program of music. And before that, I had to go through the process of picking, very carefully selecting pieces of music that would fit with our theme and directly align with and easily align with the district, science and engineering standards that the students were learning about or learning through. And so the music selection process actually probably took the longest in terms of, on my end, in terms of making sure that it was, right, relevant, meaningful, and engaging. Then we, of course, had the rehearsals on the musical end of things, and then the Youth Symphony, and then I worked very closely with Renee Schumacher and Arts Corps to get some grant money. The Youth Symphony also, we have a development director who raised money for supplies, for books to be purchased for the literacy piece. And we got together and basically made lists of what we're gonna need, got numbers from the students that would be participating so we could buy the correct amount of supplies. And then we just did whatever we needed to do to get those supplies to every single classroom that was participating. And we made a lot of videos and Google slide presentations for the elementary staff members so that they could, show it to their students and they could implement the plan, basically. So, and then finally on the elementary side, the teachers had to go through the process of helping students build musical instruments, aligning with their core science standards and engineering principles and things like that, and sharing it out digitally using technology and Flipgrid. And then at the concert, we all came together, and the Youth Symphony students really enjoyed the participation from the elementary students, and the Youth Symphony students recorded a virtual petting zoo, explaining and showing the elementary students their instruments. And then finally we all performed together, and then the Youth Symphony also performed some other pieces for the students. So on one day in November. It was in November. So that was a very long explanation. It was a big process. Okay, so now I need to build an instrument, and I have lots of supplies to choose from, and so I have a lot to think about and some choices to make. The number one choice I have to make is I have to decide what kind of instrument I want to make. Do I want to make a string instrument? Do I want to make a percussion instrument or some kind of wind instrument? And I have a lot of supplies. These are some of the supplies that you'll see, different sized boxes. You know what? I think I like the sound better with the straws. Okay. Much nicer sound. I like this a lot better. It works better. I'm gonna go with that. See you November 12th. We also included a literacy component, an aspect to this project. Mo Willems is a really popular and very famous and wonderful children's book author and artist, and he wrote a book called Because, and it's about the journey of a young person, a child who gets introduced almost by accident to the world of music, and then is immediately connected to it and wanting to learn more about it, and ends up becoming a musician and composer just because of this one concert experience that they had as a child, by accident almost. And so we integrated that journey and that aspect of creativity and learning and connecting with music or something that you really, really love to do, and the beauty of that in the project as well. I've picked a story that reminded me about how I felt when I was your age, when I saw my first symphony concert and heard Beethoven performed for the first time. If you have reading buddies or have a buddy class at your school, this is a book you could share with them if you wanted to. The title of the book that I'm going to read to you today is Because, and it was written by Mo Willems, and the artist who illustrated the book is Amber Wren. So, let's begin. Because a man named Ludwig wrote beautiful music, a man named Franz was inspired to create his own. Because many years later, people wanted to hear Franz's beautiful music, they formed an orchestra. Because a man had practiced since he was a kid, he was asked to join. Because a woman studied night and day, she too was asked to play. Because many others loved and practiced their instruments, there were enough musicians. Because someone created a poster about Franz's music, tickets were sold. Because the train conductor stopped the train at the Grand Concert Hall, the orchestra conductor arrived. Because the orchestra librarian had copies of the score, the orchestra rehearsed. Because workers checked the lights and the seats and swept the floors, the grand hall was ready. Because the time had come, the ushers opened the doors. Because someone's uncle caught a cold, someone's aunt had an extra ticket for someone special. Because the usher helped the aunt and her special guest, they found their seats. Because everyone was there to hear beautiful music, it was quiet. In row C, seat 14, sat the girl with the uncle's ticket. She heard the beautiful music written by the man named Franz, and it changed her. The girl was changed. From that moment on, the girl learned everything she could about music because it fed her. Soon, she started to write music too, because, like Franz, the young woman had something to share. Over time, the woman became very good because she worked very hard. One night, her music was discovered because she was also very lucky. Then she was invited to perform her music at the Grand Concert Hall. because so many people wanted to hear it. Her composition was dedicated to the uncle in row C, seat 14, because it was his ticket that brought her here. And that night, someone else was changed. That is how it happens. So when we are reflecting back on our projects like these, one of the things that my collaborators and my colleagues and I talked a lot about was the fact that it's so important to develop great working relationships so that it makes collaboration not only possible but easy and fulfilling. And so, just the simple step of reaching out to if you're in a school district and you want to have an experience like this, one thing you can do is partner with an outside organization in your community. That's a wonderful thing to do in general. It's a small sort of step that you can take that will result in a really big impact for a lot of people, in particular students. So reach out. Reach out. I know, that's like playing in my head. That took all my strength not to do that.
As this new idea to integrate the arts and how big could we let this project get and what supports. We're in school.
Class is in session. Class is now in session.
So as the Arts Corps Integration Coordinator for the district, my job is to work with teachers who are interested in working arts integration into their curriculum. So the arts with the core content or the core content with the arts. And I was approached to get on board with this project to see how big we can get it and how well we can integrate the arts into this idea, or bringing in the science with the arts and how that would all roll out. So as the coordinator for that, my job was just to take a look at the curriculum and the music in this arts integration case, and to see, can we make it a natural fit? Can we make it appropriate so that each subject is getting equal attention? And, is it engaging for the teachers? Is it engaging for the students? And how is this all going to work out? And as the project developed and evolved and started to as the project began to develop and evolve and start to get implemented, my role kind of shifted and it became very organic to say, okay, now we need to order supplies. So these are supplies that my visual art teacher background this is what I think will work for these kids. So we found recycled projects, cardboard, rubber band, whatever they could use to make their instruments. So then, working to get that rolled out. There was a mini grant that came from Arts Corps to help support this whole process and this whole project. And the goal of Arts Corps is to help teachers grow their competence, confidence, and resilience in and through the arts. So whatever would engage those teachers and help them in their role and their passion, and then in effect their students, that's what I was there for. So it was a lot of fun, and we're going to roll it out again this year. It's going to look a little different, but I'm just very excited that I got to be a part of it. And it's like I just look forward to it now. Like this is just what we do now. Like, yeah.
This is what we do.
This is what we do.
Yeah. Even in the age of COVID, this is what we do. So now I'm putting on my teacher hat and I'm talking as a teacher and an educator. And I think, one of the most wonderful things about this was that I was personally just very moved by the whole experience, but I was very inspired. And I think as educators and creative people, we need moments and experiences like that just as much as the students do, to keep us going, to keep us energized, to keep us looking forward to the next project, or to keep our energy up and our interest and engagement from our perspective in wanting to work with young musicians and young students, and hopefully have an impact, a positive impact. So this experience really re-energized me personally, and I think a lot of the people that I collaborated with. So the students were energized and committed, but I think as a teacher and an educator, that was the piece that was just so rewarding. So I highly recommend giving it a try.
On the field.
Ooh, chicken skin.
Okay, yeah, that
So
was
if you want chicken skin all the time, chicken skin, do something like this. And then even though like there are ups and downs throughout the process.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Do you really want to do this? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Beethoven. Raise your hands if you have heard that name before. Okay. His full name is Ludwig von Beethoven. Say Ludwig.
Ludwig.
Von Beethoven. Okay, repeat after me. Ludwig von Beethoven. All right. Beethoven was one of the greatest musical engineers that ever lived, and if he were alive today, he would be 250 years old. Let's do instruments so that the orchestra can see what we created. Let me see your instruments. Oh my goodness. Amazing. All right. Orchestra, you go first. We're going to play the first 6 bars. Ready? All right. So some of you are going to stop, right? I want to eat. Sometimes on the left. I want to eat. Sometimes on the left. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, oh, they sound great. That's okay. Let's play with the orchestra. Ready? 2, 3, one more time. Get up to rehearse again and practice. And then we perform on 3 and go. 2, 3. Now, students, can we all have an
Hi everybody, we just wanted to let you know that this year, Full Steam Ahead, Igniting Creativity Through Arts Integration is happening again, but
In the age of COVID, we're doing it virtually, and we are providing everything via a virtual platform for our teachers and our students. And if you think about it, in theory, we could actually have more students, more teachers, more classrooms, more schools engaged in this project because of the fact that they don't have to be bussed over for, you know, a live concert experience per se. Now, the live concert experience is definitely what we're going to go back to when it's safe to do so. But, you know, we're just trying to, you know, take the positives with our situation and make it into something new and maybe even expand our reach.
so all the parts that we had in our original project with the unit that came out for the teachers that had all the lessons laid out, a video of Ms. Grine reading the Because book, playing her instrument tied to the musician. That's all going to be in there. Students can also make instruments. This year, logistically, that's going to be a little different of how they get those materials. But the virtual petting zoo where the students, the orchestra students, get to play their instruments and talk about their instruments, that's going to be there. And the concert will be filmed in virtual. And I think it'll be okay. It'll be great.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, there we go.
Thank you again for joining us. We hope you learned something great about our collaborative project, Full Steam Ahead, Igniting Creativity Through the Arts.
And thanks again to ASTA, the 2021 ASTA National Conference, for having us as presenters. We really enjoyed the process. And again, we hope that you had some good takeaways. And please feel free to contact us if you have any questions or would like any further information.